Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is doing really well on this 24th of March. I'd like to welcome everybody to today's virtual DigiCon Connect Boardroom. The topic of today's boardroom is leveraging the power of AI for operational excellence. The event will focus on building efficiency in the company's business work processes with practical use of AI and intelligent process automation to achieve operational excellence. Today's boardroom is presented by Simplifai and brought to you by VAD. Before we get into the topics and the speakers take the podium, I just want to run you through some quick housekeeping rules, as well as introduce the agenda and the speakers briefly. So first and foremost, please keep your cameras on when possible. We are all connecting remotely, and whilst in the absence of the opportunity for us to gather around table and have open discussions, it'll be really nice to click back and forth and just kind of put names to faces. I understand it's a tall ask to keep it on the whole time, but today is my 40th birthday. So if I could be here with you guys on my 40th birthday, then you guys can have your cameras on for 5 minutes and wave. So that'd be really, really nice. Secondly, I have put everybody on mute upon arrival. This is just to avoid background noise in case you guys hit the unmute button, but that does not mean that we don't want you to participate. We actually encourage it. So please use the chat option. If you have any questions, type your chats and we will post it to the speakers of the panels. Also, you can use the raise hand button and I will unmute you. So especially in the Q&A session at the end of the session, we really would like to hear your opinions and thoughts. Everybody in attendance in audience is super senior, so we would love to hear your feedback, your collective experiences. So this becomes a really value-adding program for everybody. Third point is if there is network issues, as we can see this is happening all the time, please don't panic, just click back on the button and then you get reconnected. My team are in the background and they will admit every participant. So should you drop, just click on the button and get back to the program with us. And lastly, as I mentioned, chat box and raise hand buttons to ask questions and to have inputs. Please participate as much as you like and we'd love to hear from you. With that, I'm going to introduce today's speakers for the program. Our first speaker is Mario, who is the General Manager of VAD Technologies. Good morning, Mario. We have Eric, who is the COO of Simplifai. Good morning to you, Eric. We have Mr. Mustafa, who is with us from Oman Arab Bank in beautiful Oman. Good morning, Mustafa. And we have Mr. Munir, who's joined us from he's the General Manager of Insurance and Reinsurance from the Qatar Insurance Company. Gentlemen, welcome on board, and I'm very delighted to have you with us today. So today's agenda is as such. We're going to kick off with a small welcome note from Mario, followed by a very short poll to get things started and get the flavor of where everybody is in relation to AI, RPA, and process automation. Then I will hand the podium to Eric. Eric will do a presentation and a demo for us, and then we will have an interactive panel Q&A session with participation from Mario, Eric, Munir, and Mustafa. Thank you so very much again, everybody. Before we get started, I'm going to cast the first poll. So if you give me 1 second, I will do my poll casting, and then Eric can take the stage. Can everybody just take a second and answer the poll that I am launching, please? I will read the question. What is the current state of AI and automation at your company, department, or team? I'm just going to give this another 5 to 10 seconds for those who are still thinking about their answers, and I'm going to then cast a poll so everyone sees where everybody's standing in relation to one another, and then we can kickstart everything. Right? So a few more seconds, and I'm going to wrap it up at this stage. So 31% are not using. 31% are evaluating, 15% are setting up, and 23% are already implementing. Okay, with that, I'm going to stop sharing the poll results, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to pass the podium to Eric. Eric, the stage is yours.
Yes, thank you. Let me see. I still get the poll result in front of me, so let me just quickly share my screen. And yes, welcome everyone. So today I'll be speaking about how we would be able to leverage on the technology of AI into helping the operation to improve on the operation, to make it more efficient, to improve the quality, and definitely improve the response time. So every day we're facing challenges. The challenges can be coming from many places. And the most obvious ones that people will be thinking about is from the competitions. Everyone is working towards running the business more efficient, having more speed, but ultimately, the trend is being set by the consumers. It's the customers. They are the one who is driving. They are the one who provides the challenges. They are the one who drives the market forward. So whenever they have experienced some very good customer service, UX experience somewhere else, that became their standard, and they would like to apply that to all the other industries that they also are receiving service from. Say, going from waiting for a taxi to come around and call them over. Instead, they're using Uber, open the app, all they need, the driver will be anytime, anywhere. So the digitalization is hitting all of the markets, and bank and insurance is no exceptions. If we were looking at the bank and insurance in general, the customers are ever more demanding. They want more speed, they want availability around the clock, and they want the answers when they need it. And of course, the reason why we're not sitting in the same place right now is also because of the pandemic. And some might say it actually have hurt a lot of businesses, but the way we see it, we also see that there's a lot of opportunities have opened up because of it. It has amount which have driven, have risen the speed on implementing digitalization solutions, automations, because when employees' health status might be unknown, it's very difficult to ensure the proper productivity from the staff, unlike before. So a couple of words about Simplify. We're a company based on Norway in Oslo with about 100 employees. It was founded 4 years ago, and it has experienced tremendous growth because the industries, the technologies that we have chosen happens to be the most sought after technology globally for the last few years. We are a verified Microsoft partner, and if Gartner were to come in and looked at us and say, okay, where do you belong in all the industries? We definitely belong in the intelligent process automation. Our ultimate goal, the services we provide, is to automate operations, processes, using artificial intelligence as the backbone, the technology. So the technology that we work with is natural language understanding, natural language processing, where we would take the text from the incoming inquiries and we would, using AI to understand what it is, and based on the information to perform the necessary task automatically. How we differentiate with most of the other competitors is that it's extremely lightweight, it's easy to get started. With only 100 examples, you can already train a bot that can understand more than half of the incoming inquiries automatically. If you continue training on it, it can get well above 90%. And that's why we are promising that we would be able to help you to automate 90% of your repetitive tasks, and we can do so with very short amount of implementation time and investment. So, and when we say short, we really mean it's a really short time. I mean, 1 month it goes by just like that. And some of our customers will take even more than a month just to make up the mind and to have the decisions, but we can deliver very quick. And because of the high automation grade and the short time of implementation and low investment, the payback time based on the business case, it's easily coming back within the 6 months. Now that's massive because you could really use the staffing budget on this project and it wouldn't have reflected anywhere else. It would have been well within the budget that was allocated for the year. So you don't have to ask for investments in addition from the top management. And our concept is called digital employees. And if we look at from an employee's perspective, there is always a certain task that repeats itself on a daily basis. It's the interaction, the decision, and the action. Ultimately, when we're looking at what an employee do on a daily basis, they are practically moving information from one place to another. Usually an employee comes to work, gets a mailbox or some sort of a CRM ticketing systems. They would look at the incoming inquiries from either the customer or colleagues. And based on that inquiry, you would usually be asked to either answer some questions or perform some tasks. I need to file a claim for insurance. I like to apply for a bank loan. I like to block my credit card. There could be many different types of inquiries. And then when you read the inquiries, based on the experience, you will need to make the decision on what to do with it. Should I process the bank loan? Should I process the claim because the amount is so low? Or if you're asking about the quote for the insurance, where do I go and find it? So all of these decisions are made within the employees and then go ahead and perform the action. So the digital employee takes all of that and mimics it into an automation module that we would be able to customize together based on the individual bank or insurance company, their own process. So emails, documents are handled by email bot and document bot. We have a decision engine that handles the business rules. And we are well integrated with any REST API in the back office systems, or should it be needed, we also have RPA. We can also integrate with an RPA bot that is already up and running. So for all of you who have started to implement RPA within your bank or insurance company, this is not a competition to the RPA, but this is a complementary modules that would have enhanced the result of your RPA solutions. It would improve the automation grade. It will make your RPA bot more versatile and more useful. So usually this is a regular process that we would find within the BFSI sector. You read, you understand what comes in, then you decide what to do, and then you would usually update or check the systems for the, and then you archive the necessary documents, especially for insurance. There's a lot of documents that might end up to be useful should there be a lawsuit for a claim case. And then you will produce a reply of some sort back to the inquirer. And that for digital employee, this is how we chain together the solutions. We have a Simplifai Studio, which is the interface where either we or our partners or even the customers can use to train the bots to understand your inquiries. This is the interface for training an email bot. As you can see, there are no coding. There is no interface for you to start putting in a bunch of rules or regular expressions or coding lines of programming codes. This is how an email would look like for you. And all you have to do is to mark within the emails what type of inquiries that we're talking about, information within the emails that is important for the bot to understand in order to extract. And then for the relevant documents, you would be able to do the same. You can mark the informations on the documents, and all of this information will be extracted, and it would be useful when you define the automation solutions behind, making some decisions based on information extracted and call the necessary components, whether it is an API call to one of your back office systems or to call an RPA bot with that information so that the RPA bot can perform the necessary task. A lot of the RPA bots are struggling with exactly this part because of the irregular look of how an email looked like. It would be practically impossible for an RPA bot to pick out the information from this email without some help with the AI modules. And this is exactly what Simplifai provides. And because of that, we have also enlisted ourselves in the marketplace of the different RPA tools. So should you have UiPath, Automation Anywhere, Blue Prism, you will find us in the marketplace as well. This is to show how we integrate really well with these tools. And of course, as we have mentioned, should you not have RPA And instead, we are also able to provide the necessary integrations through a REST API interface, which you can also set up without necessarily having to code. Last but not least, it's also very important to know how the bots are performing. So we have also a dashboard, which you will be able to see how much of a success it has achieved, how much traffic has come in, a breakdown on the different inquiries and the results, and also as well as the traffic and the breakdown of the traffic over time. And should there be any sort of cases where the bot couldn't handle and we hand it over to someone else to process, you would have a list of that and you will be able to use that information to improve on the bot. So going forward, I'd like to talk a little bit about more concrete how our technology can apply to insurance and bank sector. So ClaimsLink is our reference case. They're our first customer and their bots are now running almost at 2 years now. By next month, it would round up 2 years. And in 3 months, we have delivered them the bots that are able to process all of the incoming emails as well as the attachments. And over time to be trained to a point where right now, 80% of the incoming inquiries never reach anybody. And that for Norway, we're not a large country, so we don't have a lot of employees working a lot of cases, but to have a bot that completely automated at least 6 FTEs, that's massive in a small Nordic countries like Norway. But it's the same solution that can scale. So if we're talking about insurance company in the Middle East, probably 10 times easily of the business, you can imagine that instead of 6 FTEs, we could be saving 60 FTEs by doing exactly the same thing. So a bit on the organization for ClaimsLink. Usually they have agents to sell, they have customer service to process any of the policy related, and then they have the claim handlers to handling claims. So our solution, Digital Employees for ClaimsLink, is to handle the claim handlers, to offload them, to help them with processing inquiries that are very repetitive. So our claims coordinator, Chris, the way we have named it, it's the collaboration of the modules of email bot, document bot, decision engine, and the integrations needed to perform the tasks such as to read the claims that comes in, to search up the policies, register it, and then archive the necessary documents and make the case ready for the lawyers to process. And this is the process that basically it goes through. It's quite similar to what I have explained earlier. And combining these modules, we have integrated our incoming inquiry sources to Outlook, which is the system that they use. It's not limited to Outlook, but that's what they are using. And we integrated the email bot and the document bot with Dynamics, which is their policy systems, and SharePoint, which is their archiving systems. And from there on, should there be any cases that it cannot handle, it would be forwarding to an employee, a colleague of them to process. But ultimately, 80% are being done by the digital employee, Chris. And some of the numbers, as we have mentioned, this is the first year of Sada, this is the first 12 months of the digital employee. Over 56,000 emails are being read, 72,000 of it has been interpreted. This number are more than doubled in the second year. We already have passed this number on our second year already, as well as the case registered. And of course, 8,520 hours worked. It works 24/7, 365. It doesn't take a break. And in comparison to a normal employee working about 2,000 hours, that's 4 times the capacities. And not to mention machines works much faster. When it comes to bank, we have also done some research and we're looking at basically this is how the time are being spent within the customer service employees. So you can see that a lot of the time are being spent on responding to queries and follow-ups using emails or other types of communication channels. And then of course, a quarter of it goes to phone calls. And then there is a decent amount of time being spent on simply data entry. So we have also been spoken to a lot of customer service rep in the industries and also the managers. And it does come out that the most of the time being spent is not just the time, but it is also the quality as well as the cost. It's the most costly to process an inquiry through phone calls and email thereafter. So it has been an industry-wide wishes to eliminate emails as much as possible, eliminate phone calls using chatbots has been, of course, been part of the trend. But what we are suggesting is that instead of eliminating the emails by hiding your email address or contact email address, what you can also do is that to automate the processing of the emails so that it would be opening up the channel for the end customer, but at the same time ensuring that you don't overly spend on processing these inquiries, especially when most of them are quite standardized. Typical banking customer service inquiries, you all know this better than I do, account related, loan related, card related, could be savings, pension, etc., etc. There are many, but ultimately, this is quite similar from one bank to another. So from our experience in the banking sector, I'm pretty sure that we would be able to build the bot for you easily based on what we have already acquired in terms of historical inquiries from within the industries. So our customer service coordinator built based on the same module, configured slightly differently to accommodate for the banking sector. It will still be receiving inquiries. There will be less from the Outlook mailbox, but more through CRM, as we have seen from the customer we have spoken to. So it is still the email bot. It's not that, oh, because it is in CRM, it's not an email. It is still a block of text that needs to be read. Information still needs to be read out from and interpreted. And for that, our email bot and document bot is still very useful in that settings. Interpret content, defining what to do the necessary registration, archiving if needed. There will be less archiving as banking is usually more of an inquiry based unless you're applying for a loan, and then go ahead and produce the answers for the inquiry. Still based on the same modules. It doesn't necessarily have to be Outlook, it could be anything, and it doesn't have to be dynamics like we have done for claims. It could be any banking systems. It could be any document archiving systems. And still, there's a very nice flow. Should the digital employee not able to process what's coming in, you'll still be able to forward that to an employee in order for them to handle it. And over time, the bot will get better and better. Using our interface of Simplifai Studio to continue to retrain on it, and then it will get better and better over time. It will do more, be able to handle more type of inquiries as well over time. If we implement this into the same scenarios that I illustrated, what we are looking at the saving is close to 60%. Now, unfortunately, we couldn't do anything about the phone calls, but should we also implement chatbot for that? We even have a WhatsApp integration with our chatbot. Then you would be able to create a tremendous amount of savings. And then you will also be able to keep the data entry to the minimum, and you will be able to handle the inquiries, process them as not only automatically, but imagine that as the bot is working through 365 every day during the year, you would be able to provide services outside of the bank's opening time, for example. So just very quick, for those of you who finds this interesting and would like to know more, we will be gladly to be able to answer your questions today and also afterward as well. You will have the contact information from us. And our partner in the Middle East is Vad. Mario is in the call today as well. He has quickly learned basically everything that we do, and then he's actually as knowledgeable on this subject matter as I am right now through our collaboration. So, but quickly to get started, we also have defined basically within 4 weeks we would be able to train a bot for you, given that we get the inquiry examples from you, and you will be able to look at the pilot, which is practically how it would look like for you in the production, but it would be a chance for you to use the 4 weeks to evaluate whether this technology really works. Is it really as good as I'm claiming it today? And you will be able to see how it fits into your operation as well. So it's a very low risk, or should I say no risk, to test this technology, which is very new. There are no natural competitors in the Middle East and not in Europe and other regions as well. And we would be able to collaborate with your systems, your inquiry incoming channel, and train a bot and make it useful for you in 4 weeks. And then afterward, if you think this is good, it's a small switch and it will be in the production. This is how we have used this approach to have acquired quite a lot of cases now in India, which also we have our sales team established recently. So that's my presentation, and I'll say thank you for your time, and I will say back to Laila.
Eric, thank you so very much for that presentation. And I do apologize to everyone. I jumped the gun a little bit. I got excited about the presentation by Eric, and I forgot to introduce Mario. Mario, would you like to take to podium and give us a little bit of intro about VAD and yourself before we go to the Q&A panel, please? And thank you.
Thank you very much. And Leila, it's great to see that you are as excited about this technology like we are. And as I said before, I think today is all about Simplifai, and it's all about this great technology which we're actually promoting in the Middle East, and we're seeing a great traction with it. But let me start off saying happy birthday, first of all. And thanks for making time available, despite the fact that you probably must get a lot of messages and congratulations and flowers and whatever. So we wish you all the very best. Yes, I'm Mario Viljovic. I'm the General Manager of VAD Technologies. We are a partner of Simplifai. We're very excited about this AI technology, as we believe that 2021 will be the year of artificial intelligence. We see that in the response of the partners which we're working with. Just to clarify a little bit, we are the value-added distributor of Simplifai. So we're working with a network of over 250 partners in the entire Middle East and promoting our disruptive and very innovative technologies through these channels, and then obviously driving them into you as end users. AI is super exciting. As Eric mentioned, we ourselves are an active user of Simplifai. We have been able to do a lot of cost avoidance by actually using the digital employee concept and implementing the email bot and the document bot. And that is even helping us with very simple processes, such as like handling the inflow of emails from the website, as well as directly on info@VAD, for example, in order to actually segregate emails and driving it to the right product managers within the team. So there's no more a person which needs to sit and spend time on looking at emails. At the same time, the email bot and the digital employee is helping us to actually create direct entries into the CRM system, so it will not lose out on any of the opportunities which we have received. From a compliance perspective, especially operating here in the Middle East with a lot of, let's say, US and European vendors, it actually helps us even to do a due diligence on the email on from where these requests are coming. So the digital employee has been trained by us in order to understand what is mentioned in the auto signature, and can obviously by the phone number or by the website actually identify like where is this request coming from and are we actually authorized to sell these products in those territories. The document bot obviously helps us here even to analyze the image which contains the data of where the request is coming from, for example. But as I said, today is not about that technology, but we are actually a case study itself in the Middle East. We're very overwhelmed with the response which we have today in terms of participants, and that is a big thank you to Leila and Orban and the entire team to help us set it up. Appreciate the time taken by obviously our friends from Norway, Henrik, Eric, and Daniel to actually join us today. So very excited about this one. And with this, back to the birthday child, Leila.
Thank you very much for that, Mario. Everyone, as I mentioned, and now I am going in order, I'm going to cast 2 polls back to back. These are brief polls that would get some idea about everybody's journey in relation to RPA and AI. And after the polls, we will open the panel discussion with open Q&A, which again, I would like to encourage everyone to participate at that point. So if everyone is ready, I'm going to cast polls number 2 and 3, please, and thank you. There are 2 questions back to back. I'll give a minute for everyone to study the 2 questions. The first one is, if you have AI and automation already, what do you have? What are you using? And the second one is, what do you think you would need the intelligent process automation, and when would you like to implement it? So if everyone can take a minute and answer those questions, that would be great. segue to start the open panel Q&A session. Okay, I'm gonna give it another 4 or 5 seconds. We still have some people answering. All right, I'm going to call it at this stage and cast the results for us just to cast our eyes on, and polling and share results with everyone. I think the majority are of the audience, close to 50%, are already using chatbots. 7% are using email bots, none for documentation, 7% for digital employee and working workers, 13% RPA, and 27% other. And as far as when it is that we are looking at deploying intelligent process automation, 3 to 6 months or in the next year would be the majority of the responses. Okay. With that, I would finalize the poll and I will begin the Q&A session. Thank you so much. Right, so as I introduced the gentleman before we started the session, I will call them once more time. So we have Mario and Eric who have taken to stage, and we have then Mr. Munir and Mr. Mustafa. Gentlemen, welcome. I'm going to pin you to the session so we can see you. Mr. Munir, before we begin, can you just give us a little bit of introduction about yourself?
Good morning, everyone. I hope you are protected and safe. In brief, I have more than 25 years of experience. Most of them are in banking and insurance industry. You know, as a CIO level person, my concern always was about how to leverage the digitalization and the electronic services in our organization. So in the last 15 years, I put some significant changes in the existing services in the organizations that I work with, including the RBA, AI, most of the bots services, analytics, etc. I have seen some significant changes in the market share and in the value proposition in our organization, and I can see the value when we change those services.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Mustafa, can you also give us a brief intro about yourself to the audience?
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. My name is Mustafa. I'm working with Oman Arab Bank since 2015, and I have experience more than 16 years. The last 6 years, of course, with Oman Arab Bank, and I'm working with UI, UX, starting with this position. Then we will shift to this multimedia and process. So we started to automate some processes with operation and some AI. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Welcome on board, and happy to have you with us. Everyone else, I'm going to start the question from the 4 gentlemen on the panel. But as I said, please post your questions and share your thoughts. I will read them out, and you can share your thoughts with us as we proceed with the questions. So I'm going to kickstart the questions with Mr. Munir. How important is operation excellence right now in your organization and in industries similar to yours? And what do you believe is the role of AI, RPA, and intelligent automation, similar to the technologies that Eric has discussed in the progression of this industry?
Well, let me answer the question in two parts. First, I want to emphasize the value of operation excellence. I believe personally that the operation excellence is not a process or a change of process itself. Actually, it's a philosophy. It's a philosophy and an art, and a mindset shift from a position to another position. So this is a kind of changing the mentality and the traditions in your organization. This is the first part of the answer. The second part of the answer, actually, I believe the operation excellence will add value to the organization from different perspectives, especially in the to reduce the unnecessary flows and processes, focus on customers' needs rather than the company's need as well, and definitely reduce the cost and the operational cost and the increase the profitability by reducing the time to do the job. And the last, but the last not the least, increase the customer satisfaction. If you finish the task, the operational tasks in your organization in a very short period, customers will be satisfied, especially when they get the answers in the spot. What Mr. Eric mentioned earlier, when you activate the chatbots, the mail bots, etc., you reduce definitely 50% of your, at least 50% of your operational work. So this is the importance of the operational excellence in our organizations, in my previous experiences as well.
Thank you very much for that. Mr. Mustafa, can I ask you, are you currently deploying any RPA and intelligent RPA in your organization? What are some of the things that you're doing from the mix that we've heard about today, or similar? And what would you like the future to look like? What is the current status, and what will the future look like for Oman Arab Bank?
Yeah. Actually, we started our journey since 2017 with our bot we created in that period. And we started with one bot, actually, with the most headache on that operation department, that there is another complaint coming through multi-session, like email and other system like call center. So we start with that one and reduce any number of work and number of employee actually to the 50%. So after that, we started to the other bots, and other process implemented. So we have now almost 4 bots with running more than 50 processes. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. Before I pass the question to Eric or Mario, can I ask this question of both of you? Do you think that organizations, in your opinion, are going to deploy more bots or more intelligent bots? What do you think? Is more going to be better, or are we going to start deploying things that are a bit more intelligent and more human-like? This is a personal question of mine. If one of you wouldn't mind taking that.
Yeah, I can start by saying that there will be more bots deployed. I mean, every bot that is being deployed will become one new ones, and the number will only increase, because imagine that you have a bot that is saying automating 80% of your workload. Let's not even go as extreme as 90, but 80. And the day you turn off that bot, you would experience a 5-doubling of your workload. And that's a decision that very few people can make. So once you have started to utilizing the bot and achieve operational savings and the increased quality and efficiencies, it's very difficult to go back. And given that a bot can scale infinitely, it's at the end of the day, it's IT systems that can scale, then it will not necessarily mean that you will need many different bots within the organization, but you will need bots that are able to do different things. for the different departments maybe, but ultimately we see that the trend is that it will become more and more bots over time. Mario, do you have something to add?
No, I think you answered it perfectly. I think the big challenge which we're having is that, I mean, in my opinion, there are actually two factors to it. I mean, on one hand, I think over decades, actually, we have always been influenced by being scared of robots. All right. I mean, even when I talk to my dad, which is happily retired now, he understood the industrial revolution was coming, and people were scared that the bots will take over, the robots will come, and they will take your job away. And the same, I think we're going to start seeing now, obviously in the digital world, or in the, let's say, less industrialized work, but more on the administrative work. And I think it's wrong to feel that we humans will compete with robots. It is actually that these robots will help us as humans to endure much longer. And I think if you look at our life expectation is much longer, I think we need to make sure that we stay more efficient. And I think we humans have to become AI empowered, and with that obviously being able to work much longer, because I think we should all abandon all of these plans that I'm going to retire with 40. Leila, I mean, that would be your day today. So you can imagine we need to stay much more longer, much more productive, and this is exactly the case studies which we have seen with Eric and his team in Norway, where insurance companies could actually divert let's say more resources to human touch like tasks rather than the administrative part. So now if you have, let's say, a claim process which is a little bit more complex, you really have somebody to talk to. Because in the past, what was it? It was this one fits all. There was a process and it was handled, but people had no time to really go beyond and understand why this claim process maybe is a little bit different. And I think that is the way forward. And I hope I answered your question a little bit around this. I think it is, this is complementary, it is supporting us, and it will help us to be more efficient at the end.
I would like to add one extra point here. See, the value here is not just to nice to have robotics or robots. It is must to have, because see, it's not about reducing the number of employees, never. It's about keeping those 20, 30, 40 persons focused on adding value to the customers who are really suffering. Because see, 20% of the customers calling your call center or requesting for inquiries are only the people that looking for a real answers. 80% most of the time are looking for a typical or standard answers.
That makes perfect sense. Mr. Munir, so with that, what do you think the future looks like? We've talked about increased average life expectancy. You know, digital connectivity has become everything. And obviously the pandemic has fast-tracked that. And everyone is now connected, and everyone wants instant responses, and we've become an instant gratification kind of culture. So with that, for a sector like banking or sector like insurance, which are very customer oriented and they have thousands, I mean, they serve the entire population of a country one way or another. What does the future look like, in your opinion, for a successful banking operator, or for a successful insurance operator that can differentiate itself from its competitors?
Well, I will take it this way. We have to have in the future a clever operation rather than a typical operation. A clever operation means that I will keep my human employees focused on adding value to those customers who are facing real difficulties to complete their services, let's say their banking or insurance services, while serving the other 80 or 70% of the typical customers in the automated way, in the robotics way. So what I'm thinking of in the nearest future, you will find a lot of chatbots, intelligent chatbots, because there you will find a lot of typical chatbots that answer very basic questions, very static questions. You have you can see some machine learning chatbots where you can really actually sell and cross-sell, upsell your products, and answer and your customers in the same time. So the operational part plus the creativity part of it, you will find it in the near future.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Mustafa, I'm going to kind of pose the same question to you. I know we discussed it briefly as well before this call. What is your opinion about RPA and AI taking over simple tasks so they can free up employee time for more value-adding tasks within organizations?
Yeah, I will tell you a short story happened in our organization actually. When we start in the process, the employee asked, "That mean you will, we will lose our job?" So this is not that, using robot. This does not mean to any employee lose his job. And what's happened with us? It's only to make a reduced number of employees and redirect them to the correct or to the other department, so they can give us the full effort that he can do to our organization. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Eric, Mario, do you want to add any thoughts to the feedback from Mr. Munir and Mustafa?
I mean, I just like to add one thing, and Mustafa and Munir has basically confirmed what's the current status of these organizations. And again, I think we are, especially here in the emerging markets, I think people should never be worried about losing their job. It's just about like optimizing it, making sure that everything happens more efficient and can actually fuel the growth. So it's important for us at the end. And we maybe have to learn new tasks, but that's good. And I can tell you out of our own experience, I mean, the email bot, which we actually gave even a human name because we're following the digital concept. It helps us in so many tasks, even getting new partners being onboarded. So we actually, I think right now, yes, we definitely have a lot of incoming emails, which the email bot is handling for us. But at the same time, actually, we're using the email bot, which we call in AJ, we actually use them to task with certain routine tasks, like please send this partner the partner onboarding forms. And AJ is then able to actually receive the onboarding forms back, is analyzing the onboarding forms, correcting it and say, listen, thank you very much for your passport copy, but can you please send me the latest one because you actually sent me the expired passport copy, for example. These are things which we have sometimes, or our team, because they were so busy, we're not able to actually identify and detect at the end, right? So that would probably come up much, much later. So now the people have more time in order to divert to this kind of task. And why I'm actually a big believer in 2021 will be the year of artificial intelligence. It's not just because of what everybody talks about, like because of the pandemic, remote work and what have you. I think even because companies like Simplify came up with something which is even more disruptive than the technology, which is the go-to-market. And I think in many of the products which we are offering, when we're looking for disruption, we're not looking for disruption because it is, let's say, artificial intelligence or IoT or software as a service. No, we're looking at what is the go-to-market. And I think Simplify has found a very unique way of actually promoting the email bot by actually making you only pay for the emails the bot is actually handling. So unlike what you have seen with many other automation companies where they make you spend a lot of money in order to actually just get the software, so invest into data scientists, getting the process analyzed. So it took you a long time in order to actually see at least some outcome. Forget about like ROI. We're talking about like outcomes, practical outcomes. With Simplify, you actually have that, you pay by the emails the bot is handling. So it's a co-investment by the vendor because he's convinced about the technology along with you and is making sure that you will see results. Because for Simplify, only if you see results, they will see results. So you both have a common interest in order to have an ROI on this one. And that actually made me personally even more excited about than having an email bot.
That sounds really, really good, actually. So when the ROIs, I think, are collective in goal, then obviously the bot's going to work so much harder for you. So that's amazing to know about Simplify's technology. Thank you for that. Eric, do you want to add any thoughts, or should I move on?
Yeah, just a quick calculation that I would like to also present. Imagine that instead of answering emails about insurance quotes and general questions that the bot could have answered, your employees would instead be spending time on going through all the customers that could have been upsell to, saying they are able to do 4 sales calls during an hour, and that's potentially 30 calls per day, if not more. And say 10% of that results in sales. So that's a 3 sales per day per employee. Now you multiply that over a course of a year, over the course of the number of employees, and imagine that impact on your business. And that's one thing that we would like to point out. And yes, Laila, back to you.
Very interesting point. Thank you so much for that, Eric. Munir, can I ask you to share one of the things we discussed briefly again yesterday about the do's and don'ts? Obviously, as you have taken this journey in your experience in the insurance and banking sector, and for everyone who is in various stages of implementation or evaluation, what are your do's and don'ts in terms of experience for everybody who's evaluating this right now?
Sure. Now, I think the implementation part of this is basically an art. An art in terms of that it's not only about implementing the tools. It's implementing the mindset, as I said earlier. So the things that you need always to put in mind while doing this is you have to have a better understanding of your operational services. Collect all possible information for all those services as well. Simplify, eliminate, and re-engineer some services as well. Also, you need to focus on your customer needs and think out of the box always. What the customer is looking for is not about what you are or your team is looking for. You need to think of from the customer perspective. When you start to think on this, you will start to implement what had Mario mentioned earlier about implementing the technology. Actually, this is the complete picture. He gave you the technology part of it, and this is the other part of it, which is make it more integrated solution into operational excellence. This is the things that you need to do to put in mind. The things that you should not do while doing the implementation. You should not do any complication. You should get away from any complication whenever it's possible. Keep away from complication, and you have to step out. You should not think. You should not think as an operation. You should think as a manager, as an influencer. You need to think out of the box. And the other big thing that you have to take care of while doing the implementation, I'm talking from a manager perspective. You have to step away from day-to-day work. To see the full picture, you have to step away from. Otherwise, you will sink into those day-to-day work and will not focus on doing a real operation excellence changes. This is the things that you need to take care of during the implementation.
Thank you so much, Munir, for that. We have had a request from Bianca to be unmuted. Bianca, I've just given you access to unmute yourself. Would you like to try that? I believe you want to add some points to the discussion. Bianca? Okay. Whilst Bianca tries to click the unmute button, Mr. Mustafa, can I ask you the same question as well? The do's and don'ts that you would like to share with everyone in your experience as you've gone through your journey, and the story that you share with us, with your employees thinking that they're going to be replaced by robots, and how you basically overcame that.
Yeah. As I said, they confuse which the robot will do with the real work, let's say. So after they take chance to try that's what they now more than happy and try to find or to automate most of the processes they have. And it's working in the positive way. So now I think that's what I said, that more than 50 processes now is running on production, and most most of them for operation department, and now we are working through the other departments for finance and the other department. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Can you allow me to add?
Sorry, Munir, go ahead.
Sorry, Mario, you can go.
No, I was just like, I mean, to adding what I was saying, I think Eric actually made this very clear in the presentation that, and this is what we're actually seeing from our partner community, obviously working with banks and insurances, but even, I mean, real estate and facility management companies. So even if we have looked at 2 case studies only, banking, the BFSI in general, but banking and insurances, because obviously most of the administrative work is with those companies. But we see even like facility management companies, like implementing very simple tasks. Because I think the challenge which we run into many times is that customers will tell us, oh, no, don't worry. I mean, yes, emails is a problem for us. It's just exploding. It's overwhelming for us, but we will have an app very soon because we started the development. Or they will say, no, yeah, I know, Mario, but we have a new website coming up in no time. In reality, it will not stop that problem because customers do not want to actually follow a very structured process, which everybody is obviously, in order for their RPA to function, is trying to find as a solution to it. So as Eric said, the email bot is actually complementing all of your efforts you do when it comes to digital transformation as well as robot process automation projects. But it will help you to really accelerate this whole prospect because consumers are like this. People want to have immediate response and they want to send it quickly. Plus, certain information you don't want to share with on the chat, right? And yes, chatbots are actually for very simple tasks, maybe, right? But in reality, and I mean, try it out. I mean, you will ask 3 questions and it will be processed to a person again, right? Because the bot is not able to answer the entire chat flow which you had with the system as well, right? So this is where the email bot is really getting into it and making sure that it will add value, will help you even to actually trigger your RPA process through a normal email, very simple. And I think obviously what we have seen on with the latest WhatsApp privacy laws, actually that helped us a lot because people are moving away actually from using those chat features rather than going back to actually what is documented. We have similar discussions, for example, with many of the courts which are around here in the Middle East. Chat is obviously not something which you can use. It needs to be documented by emails. That's the only electronic way of documenting certain correspondence. So even here, an email bot is actually the appropriate solution.
Thank you for that, Mario. Munir, I think you wanted to add some points to that.
The one that I want to add is I'm just commenting on Mustafa's feedback regarding how the employees will look at those capabilities that we are adding to the organization. Actually, I always say that this is not about saving resources or cutting cost on resources themselves. Actually, those are keeping those resources to do the creativity rather than doing the operational part. And this is actually what we are looking for. Not only keeping them busy with the normal day-to-day work. No, keep them keep their part of their time, 20-30% of their time, to do some creativity on the processes themselves, to do the right operational excellence. And this is where the cultural changes happens.
Thank you for that, Munir. Eric, can I ask you a question? And this is from my end. The email bots, do they have multiple language reading capabilities and processing? Obviously, we are in an Arab region. A lot of the legal documentation is in Arabic. And one of the problems I face in my organization is being sent documents in one language and needing to translate it to another language. So if I had a robot that could read it, understand it, and command the right people to do in the original language, that would be really helpful. Do you have that, or is that something in development for the future?
We do have a bot that can support many different languages. Each of them is their own instance. And right now we are able to support, of course, the native Norwegian English, also the related Swedish, Danish, as well as Dutch. But then also in regards to the collaboration with VOD, we have also support Arabic as well as of the start of the year. So Arabic is no problem for us.
That's fantastic, because I think a lot of operators need that in the.
I would like to add a very important note here for those who are trying to implement robots or chatbots. It's not about typical traditional Arabic language. We are using a lot of accents, like the Emirati-like accents, the Saudi accents, the Bahraini accents. So you need to take care of NLP during this implementation. And this is actually a learning curve. It requires some time to get all those, languages in place.
That is correct. Yeah. Thank you. That is, I think, something that I think will be the next phase for you guys, Eric, is a comprehension of all of the different dialects of Arabic.
Yes, and we would like to work with some of the attendees today in order to make sure that our bots or the language is good to be able to handle different dialects as well. The only way to verify is put that into test.
Fantastic. So for everyone who is attending in the audience, if you would like to work with Eric and Maria and their team on deciphering various dialects of language, this is the opportunity. So please make sure you ping us if you're interested in collaborating on this, which I think is an essential element to robot and process automation for the Middle East region, is the language capability and barrier there. I wanted to ask the audience again, if anyone has any questions. Everyone's sticking around, but everybody's really quiet. And I am doing most of the talking. So please do type your questions if you have any. If not, then I would like to go around with my panelists and ask everyone to give us a 2-minute to 3 minutes kind of parting notes, food for thought, and things to take away from this boardroom, things to think about. Where to start and where the journey can end, and kind of value-adding tidbits that I may have missed to ask whilst we were doing the Q&A session. Munir, I will start with you because you're on my top left, and that's where I start the reading. So first, Munir.
My pleasure. So basically, what I encourage people, especially in the organization that have a big retail customer set, I suggest that they have to start immediately. Do not waste time. Actually, you don't have to start with a complicated use cases. Just start with the very simple use cases, and you will start building on top of that. So don't wait. Just go ahead. This is my important note that I want to pass for all those people who are joining us today.
Thank you for that. You heard it from Munir. Get started today. Mustafa, any points to part with the audience?
Actually, I agree with Munir. So you have to start with the book because it will be make your life is so easy, and this is you have to change your lifestyle now to automate it. So, and this will not be end if you yeah.
Thank you very much. Maria?
Yeah, I think the borders of entry to use artificial intelligence has never been lower than with a solution like Simplifai. So I think this is an opportunity people should actually take. I have seen big projects failing and a lot of money being spent with no results. I think here you have really AI for everyday use. You can very simply implement it. You don't need, let's say, a large group of consultants and business analysts. The project for us, for example, it started as simply as create an Excel sheet with the different products which we're having, the different keywords we're having, the different brand names which these brands are using, and who are the responsible product managers. And immediately the bot was up and running. and it was making, let's say, our customer service departments, work much easier. So one thing which we have not spoken about is that obviously Simplifai is running on Microsoft Azure as a software as a service. So that means even that you don't have major infrastructure investments to be done in order to have the robot working at the performance you desire. Though obviously for larger installations, even an on-premise installation can be done, but that would obviously be very heavy loaded with GPUs and stuff like this, as you may expect from any artificial intelligence deployment. So it's in country, which is good news for those who are with us today from the UAE, which is helping to probably address even some of your data concerns you might have and privacy laws, which needs to be respected. I mean, with all that said, I hope we could excite you as much as we could excite Leila on her birthday and ourselves to actually get up early in order to be with you. And over to Eric.
Yeah, no, it's very nicely said. Don't have anything else to add, actually. It's we just have to basically say there is the threshold is low. There is nothing more risk than just contact us to get started. We'll do the work, we'll show you that it works, and the rest is it would be very magical once you see that it is in action. It's something much more than what most of you have seen so far.
Gentlemen, Munir, Mustafa, Eric, and Mario, thank you so very much. I have a question, actually, Mario, for you. Is from Amina. Says, can you please recap what you just said about Microsoft SaaS Azure? Can you just repeat that one more time, please?
No, I was actually putting a little bit of my weight in terms of like being very knowledgeable about like how the infrastructure works. And I'm very sorry, I'm very commercial. So I would give that question to Eric to just like explain us quickly on how Simplifai is actually deployed and where is it deployed?
Yes. So in order to scale massively and quickly, we have also collaborated with Microsoft and host our solution on the Microsoft Azure. And we understand that a lot of the informations are private, and therefore we have also established different instances for different customers, as well as different regions of Azure hosting will be serving the corresponding region. So in Middle East, I think there is 2 data centers right now, one in the UAE and one I think it's in Saudi Arabia. Mario, correct me if I'm wrong. And also, just to add, if any of the large bank and insurance would feel that it is very important that the solution is well within your IT architecture and you would like to either host it on-prem or on your private cloud, these are also things we can accommodate for.
Thank you very much for that, Eric. Amina says thanks as well. Amina, if you have any other questions, obviously you have the contact information of my team, and we will be happy to put you in touch with Eric and team for further questions. Are there any other questions in the audience that you want to chat or raise your hands? I don't see any more questions coming. So with that, I'm going to conclude today's session. I would like to thank Munir, Mustafa, Eric, and Mario for your time, for passing on some fantastic information to us. I've already started thinking about all of the stuff I want to automate in my organization. So Mario, I will talk to you a little bit later, maybe not today. I would like to go and celebrate for the rest of today, but tomorrow. For everyone who's joined us today, I hope you've learned some valuable information, answered some of your questions and concerns, and found the session informative. Please stay safe, stay well, and we hope to see you in our next session sometime soon. Thank you very much for your time. It has been a pleasure having everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.